how the Iranian regime grooms Swedish teenagers to kill Israelis. This is some wild stuff. Okay. So, in a shocking expose, CNN revealed that the Iranian regime is orchestrating a shadow war in Europe by recruiting Swedish teens, some as young as 14 years old, to carry out violent attacks against Israeli targets. Using local gangs like Foxtrot and Rumba as middlemen, Iran offers up $150,000 for hits with messages like, quote, shooter needed for Denmark, shoot to the head, and, quote, take the gun quickly, uncovered in intercepted chats. One 14-year-old, too young to be prosecuted, opened fire on the Israeli embassy in Stockholm at 2 a.m. with a 9mm pistol. Another, aged 15, was caught mid plot and sent to a juvenile care home. Swedish security service SÄPO warns this strategy exploits legal loopholes. Quote, organized crime in Sweden right now is a huge vulnerability that is being used by state actors, said Fredrik Hallström, who confirmed the Iranian regime is behind the plots. Tehran, meanwhile, denies all involvement. Of course they do, calling the accusations inhumane and blaming, quote, Zionist and anti-Iranian circles. But Swedish officials are sounding the alarm. Minors are being turned into disposable weapons in Iran's global campaign of terror. So there is a lot to unpack here. And there are a couple reasons why Sweden is the perfect environment for this kind of activity. So, one and this is very interesting actually because there were some attacks on Israeli sites that happened in Sweden that we actually covered like back a few months ago when it happened. And now we're getting more information about how it happened. And it turns out that some of the people carrying out these attacks, whether it be like randomly shooting at a freaking building or attempting to firebomb different places, it turns out that the perpetrators are like young teenagers. And this is because there are certain exploits in Sweden's justice system that incentivize people to utilize children in their criminal activity. Because basically, if you are below the age of 15 in Sweden, you cannot be held criminally liable, which is the law. If you're below 15, and correct me if I'm wrong, people feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. This is my understanding. You are not criminally liable. And this is because of Sweden's traditional attitude towards criminal justice, reformation, juvenile delinquency. Um, and and so that's like, oh, that's not the best way to treat a young person who's been involved in crime, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to be criminally liable. Like they're too young, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that I'm just going to keep it all the way real. I'm going to keep it all the way real because and again, this is my understanding. I'm not the most knowledgeable about this topic, but I do have some familiarity, which is basically, here in America, at least, we have this idea of the Scandinavian countries as having this like beautiful, progressive attitude towards criminal rehabilitation and these like beautiful facilities that are so nice for their prisoners. And it's not about punishment, it's not about being punitive, it's about rehabilitation and preventing recidivism by um uh keeping them, integrating them back into society. Look, we have I don't know, we have this stereotype about Scandinavian criminal justice being like very kumbaya, unicorns and rainbows over here in the US, and many prison reform activists point to the Scandinavian countries as a model that we should start moving towards. Well, here's the problem, and this is a saying that I have heard, and it's basically a saying like the Swedish have been peaceful so long that they've forgot that they can bleed too. Which is this idea
Wow.
that, like, Swedish society as a culture was so peaceful and kumbaya for so long that they forgot about how bad things can really get, so to speak. And what a lot of these prison reform advocates don't talk about is Sweden is having to radically look at re-examining their entire criminal justice system because the gang warfare has gotten so bad because basically they've imported the problem. And there are many different reasons for this, and people can point to this is being driven by a lot of young men who are mostly from, foreign born backgrounds, first or second generation immigrants. Um, Maybe they come from a, war torn country and they were given asylum or something. Maybe it's driven by lack of opportunities for them, difficulty finding work. And then a lot of people would say it is also genuinely because it is very difficult to integrate into Swedish society. And I'm saying that, not even like how do I put this? Like, I have multiple friends that live in Sweden, and they are, like, fully, I guess you could say, already completely, like, Western in their orientation, um, but they're just not Swedish, and they have a very difficult time integrating and being a part of Swedish society. So I mean that in the sense of, like, they already have like a barrier of being, like, westernized, like, removed, so it should be easier for them, right? But they are talking about, like, it's very difficult for me to, like, become part of Swedish culture and Swedish society. So a lot of people point to how it is genuinely very difficult for someone from the outside to become part of it as, like, a factor. And so basically, this Swedish attitude towards criminal justice has, unfortunately, when you bring in the influence of transnational criminal networks, created a structure where there is an incentive to use children. Because if there is a system that says below the age of 17, excuse me, 15, you are not criminally liable, any kingpin is gonna go, "Oh, perfect. Who should my foot soldiers be? My foot soldiers should be the people that are too young to get prosecuted because I want my guys who, come up in the organization that are close to me, that have more trust, that have more skills. I want them to be protected from, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, from the consequences. I want them to be, sheltered from the full force of the law. So I have an incentive, literally an incentive, to start using children in my enterprise. And this has happened in other places as well. This happens in drug trafficking across North and South America. This happens in the US sometimes. Um but in Sweden it's even more extreme because you're literally not criminally liable. Here in the US we'll throw a 12-year-old in jail. We don't give a fuck. Um, so that's kind of like some broader background. And if you're Swedish and I got something wrong, like, feel free to correct me, but that's my understanding. My loose familiarity of the issue. So how does this grooming with the Islamic Republic happen? Okay, because we already know that there's, like, baseline teenage gang warfare where different teenagers are literally using water bottles to bomb each other. I don't know if people know about how, like, kids bomb each other in Sweden, but it's a real thing that happens. Um
What the
and
hell?
oh, you don't, dude, look up the bombings with the Somali gangs. It's some crazy shit. Um, so
These are
how
all
does this
immigrants? second generation and first generation? Like, what is these just like the migrants community?
My understanding is that disproportionately so, yes.
Of course. Okay.
And it's so bad that Denmark, you know, Denmark and Sweden, who have had, such a tight relationship for so long, is literally looking at closing the border with Sweden because Sweden's gang problem and how it is being exported into Denmark because they can just go across the border and do hits in Denmark and go back to Sweden the same day. Like it's craziness. So they're in this unprecedented space where Denmark's like, "No, we're gonna close off our border to you, for our own safety, justifiably so." Um, so how does this happen with Iran though? So basically, one of the most notorious gangs in Sweden is called Foxtrot, and Foxtrot is a Kurdish gang. And they have a rival gang which is called Rumba, and they're both Kurdish. And I believe originally, at least Foxtrot, I know the leader of Foxtrot has escaped back to Iraqi Kurdistan, where the Islamic Republic has some influence. And so what happens is that the Islamic Republic basically uses these Kurdish gangs to then conduct hits within Sweden. So again, because the Islamic Republic, when it comes to their transnational repression nowadays, they have very low operational security to go perform these hits themselves in this foreign theater. It's easier for them to go pay a criminal gang, a drug cartel to go do it for them. And it also gives them plausible deniability, which is a benefit. So what they do is they go hire Foxtrot, they go hire Roomba, and then Foxtrot and Roomba within Sweden, they go groom Israeli teenagers. And it starts out very similarly to how gang initiation generally happens for young people, which is like there's a guy in your neighborhood, maybe you see him around, like he kind of picks out the kids that are going to be his targets based on probably who he identifies as available and vulnerable, and approaches the kid and probably like maybe kind of takes him under his wing, like acts kind of friendly. Maybe they have a shared background or something in common, and it's like I can kind of relate to him. Maybe I need guidance in my life, and the gang member will basically kind of slowly ingratiate himself to the teenager with either giving him a lot of money that the teenager can go spend on
You
stuff,
you
or
said
hiring the
they
teenager to
go
do low level stuff at first, like drug delivery, and then it escalates.
Jewish teenagers, you said?
What?
Israeli? You said
No,
Israeli teenagers? You mean no, I think
no.
you misspoke.
Did I?
You said yeah, yeah, yeah. What kind of teenagers that go recruit, brainwash? I think you mentioned
Did I misspeak? I just meant like vulnerable teenagers.
vulnerable teenagers because it Israel. I was confused. So like, why
Did
would
I?
they go
Okay, my
recruit?
apologies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay, yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, basically, over time they like get the teens to do like some low level stuff, and then it'll escalate until they're getting to a point where they're sending them on errands to go pick up pistols and guns in bushes, and then having a driver come pick them up and then just drop them off at the Israeli embassy, and they're like, okay, go shoot this place. And a lot of the times these teens like have no idea, or they don't even know like what their real target is.
And where are these teens from? Are they from the migrant community mostly, or just any community?
That's not talked about in the CNN investigation. And I think oftentimes
I wonder why.
the to be fair, I don't even know how much Sweden releases that kind of information.
I
Um
wonder why.
but what is clear is that when so in one of the CNN investigations that they published, they show the text messages going on between the teenager and his recruiter, so to speak. And so let me read this to you. And it's like, so here's the teen. He goes, "Brother, listen, tell him when I'm ready, whenever." And then okay, he replies, "Tell me when you are in the taxi." And then and now this is the gang leader talking, saying, "Quick, bro, brother, I said don't turn off until you're in the taxi. Call me, brother. Call me. Hey, brother, call me. Brother, how can you do this to me? I gave you everything. I've always helped you. Now you're not responding to me." And then the teen replies, "Brother, I've got no Wi-Fi. Only have it on in this one." Like basically, I couldn't contact you. My phone wasn't working. And it's like, okay, quick, behind the bush, blah blah blah. Like, brother, we're doing this. I don't know. The constant talk of like brother, 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 it does give me Islamic vibes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And, I mean, unless they're some commies, I don't know. Um,
So look, that is complete speculation and assumption on my part, and I will openly say so. But it's just a vibe that I'm getting. Um,
how
because
how is
I
it
don't know
that
anyone else who says brother so much.
right? How is it that Sweden is claiming that this is the Iranian regime doing this? And Sweden has still diplomatic relationships with the Iranian regime. Like, I don't know. Like, if I think, like, if you are
Mm,
recruiting teens in my country to kill Israelis, that's a I don't know. Am I exaggerating, guys? But isn't that like a declaration of war against my country? Technically, like,
especially
isn't that
because
like
it's a
how do we
state
like?
actor. Yeah,
Mm,
it's so bad.
how is it that we're like, yeah, just go listen, like, oh, these people are recruiting my teenagers to commit acts of terror on my soil, and
Yeah.
we still have embassies in each other's countries, and like we're just gonna continue as if nothing has happened.
It's rough because like the gang crisis in Sweden has been described as a national disaster. And so it really is like a perfect environment for this form of transnational repression. So now it's literally it's now intersecting with like international terrorism. Um and so Sweden is going through this like reckoning of like having to completely overhaul and change their whole attitude towards criminal justice, which kind of going back to what I was saying in the beginning is kind of ironic for me because here we hear about it as this like miraculous thing. And when I hear people praising it, I'm like, I don't I think about how it's completely it it the I don't know. Again, I'm not the most knowledgeable, but from what I understand, it's like that kind of utopian model that we hear praised here kind of only worked in a very specific environment. I'm like, I don't think this is a good model overall. Because look at what they're dealing with as a consequence.
It only
I don't
works
know.
in homogenous societies, and now that they're not homogenous anymore, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, it's interesting because these are like for many years, socialists were bragging about how so much superior the Scandinavian model and the European welfare state is to United States. And now that they are becoming less homogenous, now we're seeing all the cracks in that method. And now, I mean, and now, like, I don't know, it just like it seems like you managed to do all of that, first of all, because United States was paying for your defense, and because you were homogenous. Now that both of that is going to go away, we'll see if it still continues to be the best way of doing things.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And
let's
also
look
it's
at these.
just when people talk about like implementing these things in the US, I just because the US is literally so vastly larger, I think that would be a major stumbling block of us implementing like the exact same model. I mean, it would need a lot of tailoring because we're just literally too big.
Right.
Oh, we
Um,
got a lot of super chats.
and
Let's go
diverse,
through the social media comments.
big and diverse, by the way. All right, let me. So this one is already just doing
Yeah,
the
this
news,
guy
right?
was talking about how he was interviewed for that piece. Okay, let's see this. Um, this person is saying Iran is infiltrating Swedish gangs to target Jewish and Israeli interests in Europe. A report from CNN reveals how teenagers. Okay, so they were just like saying the basics. This person replied, "So to those of us who have above room temperature IQ, oh, we have a conspiracy here. Okay, so for those that are enlightened, we're talking above room temperature IQ. Mossad agents are using them to raise dissent in Europe, so we approve of the actions being taken in Gaza and gain support for war with Iran."
So
So
having
he's saying
above.
false flag. He's saying false flag.
Hmm, hmm,
These
hmm, hmm.
teenagers shooting the Israeli embassy, it was the Israelis.
Wow.
And then he has the gall to say those of us above room temperature IQ.
It's so amazing how the
Big
dumbest
brain.
people have the highest confidence sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hysterical because it's like, oh, it couldn't be. It could not be that this perfectly fits within a very well documented tactic of the Islamic Republic.
And
Oh my
people in the
god.
chat that keep saying like, "Yeah, of course, yeah, sure, of course it is." People in the chat,
Dude.
you guys are funny. God damn it. I mean, yeah, no evidence. Just like, I mean, by this standard, does anything bad happen without the big brain take being that the Jews did it? I mean that's the standard of brain takes. You don't like it? Jews did it. That is the sign of an intellectual analysis. Just blame
Yes.
it on the Jews.
No,
Yeah.
I consider anti-Semitism in and of itself a signifier of low IQ. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can just dismiss it. um, but once again, the funny thing about that form of anti-Semitism is it's like it's actually it's ascribing so much power to them. It's like, wow, like they're so powerful and advanced. You know, they're doing everything. Holy crap! Like, um, so this
Despite
person
this
is
news.
just like, okay, putting, kind of the descriptor. Oh my god. Again, completely fake news. Desperate move by the Zionists. Stop the genocide.
I mean, how do they know it's fake news? Did they went go in, like, let's say it's fake news. Okay, let's say it's fake news. How did this person find out? Did they go in there and did some investigative journalism, and they dig up some evidence? Like, how do you know? What if it's real? Like, is it impossible for the? I mean, the Iranian regime has done that
Yeah.
before. They admitted. The Iranian regime has admitted that they have done this before. So why is this
Yeah,
impossible?
yeah. Actually, that's a good. Wait, Armin, can you repeat that for people that didn't hear our story talking about that? They admit that they do this.
Yeah, they have admitted that they have carried out operations like this before, bragging about it. So how is it? How is this? Like, if this is fake news, based on what? Based on what analysis? Like, it's not like this is not something that is part of their MO. I
Yeah.
don't know how these people think. Yeah.
Um, so scroll down a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. See, this person with the with the candle, the Islamist. Say Iran and Shia in general are known for their assassination tactics throughout history. I mean, this is true.
I mean, the word assassination comes from.
The Ismailis, right?
Yeah, which were the OG Shia empire before the Safavids, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, actually, the whole word assassination comes from a Shia practice. Yeah, the
Yeah.
assassins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a it's just part of our culture.
Okay. All right. We
Just
did
my
get a
culture.
super chat.
So funny. Yeah, I love Mossad has godlike powers. We're pretty much sorcerers.
Assassins versus sorcerers. That should be the fight between the Iranian regime and the Jews. So assassins versus sorcerers. Yeah, that's the thing.
Especially because the some figures in the Iranian regime literally do think they're doing Jewish magic. So
Yeah.
that'd actually be such a good comic book. Um okay, so let's go to the super chats. Gaijin once again proposing his totalistic prison reform ideas, saying rehabilitation, private prisons, and Communist Party of China brainwashing or DMRI brain scans with AI guided dopamine feeds for positive thoughts and electric shocks for bad thoughts. Wait, with social media monitoring and mandated therapy.
What
You
is
know,
this 1984 shit like you Asian American keeps advocating for? This is like like
this is what he
hell.
lives for.
Yeah.
He's
No.
always on
Okay.
the
Here's
1984 level.
you don't need any of this. You just need to get to a point where you can see throughout history as technology provided more resources for people and more people were better off and more people had hope for the future, wars and hate was reduced throughout history because of that. So as we
Mhm.
progress, as technology delivers more food and a higher standard of living for more people around the world, that is going to reduce crime, war, and hatred, anti-Semitism, other forms of racism. All of them are going to be reduced. Just that's how technology is going to help. Not this 1984 stuff that you're advocating for. This is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
This sounds very advanced Gasian, but at that point, I feel like, a lobotomy would be
Yeah,
cheaper. Shit. Um, Kenny is saying, I'm worried about my robot vacuum cleaner now. Wait, what does that mean? Why
because
did you highlight this?
one of the gang members was called like one of the gang names was Rumba.
Oh,
So Kenny was so Kenny was worried.
that's
Yeah.
funny. Meanwhile, I was thinking about the dance. Uh, 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 Gaijin is saying, I'm trying to be empathetic, but everyone's talking about feeling unsafe. I find mass incarceration and throwing away the key to be a waste. I mean, let me be clear, in the United States, there is a lot about our prison system that can be and should be reformed. Um, However, I there's also lots of things about how we've attempted to do prison reformation and in the United States that I think has actually made us literally less safe. And there's some scholars that I follow that present very interesting arguments of like we actually should be imprisoning more violent offenders. Um, like the work of what's his name, Raphael Manguel. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting position. It's an unpopular position, so but he has like very solid backing. Um, So Durga, oh, our local Swede giving us Swedish krona. Thank you, Durga. Also, Durga is one
Oh,
of my secret behind the scenes researchers. Um, she said the gang crisis is the primary reason the population is moving more right wing. Not sure why they have diplomatic ties to the Quran after the whole Quran burning fiasco. I know
to Iran.
because
Quran.
remember we talked about how when Salman Momika was
Diplom-
burning. Sorry, what?
you said diplomatic ties to Quran. You mean Iran?
Iran after the Quran burning. Okay, I don't know. I don't know why I can't speak today. Um, basically, after Salman Momika was burning the Quran in Sweden, we covered a story about how the Islamic Republic somehow hacked into or got access to like thousands of Swedish telephone numbers and was like mass texting people that they're gonna do like terror attacks if they don't stop this stuff, like mass sending out these like threats via text, which was like a major breach of security. And yeah, and they tracked it back to Iran. So after you do a thing like that, I don't know how you maintain diplomatic relationships with Iran. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Swedish.
And then Solomon Momika was like freaking assassinated.
Yeah, shouldn't I mean Swedish citizens wouldn't you want to hold your government accountable? Like, why is it that we have diplomatic relationship? Like, ask your politician with a country that is spreading terror on our land. Like, they're waging war against us, and we still have embassies opened in on each other's soil. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Um John gave a super chat. Thank you, John. Saying Armin, any Imam Khomeini airport memories? Saw it listed in Frankfurt airport on a way back from Tunis, and my USA brain was all John saw Imam Khomeini airport on a side as a destination at a random airport gate, and he was like Pikachu face, like hope y'all are well. Hugs. Yes. Thank you, John. I'm glad you had a good trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly that. So, Armin, tell us your memories of the Imam Khomeini airport back in Tehran.
Well, I don't. I mean, used to go to the Mehrabad airport, not to the Imam Khomeini airport, so I don't know
Mm,
much about that airport. But I could tell you about Imam Khomeini himself on a plane. The most famous thing that happened when about Imam Khomeini himself when he was alive on a plane was on his way back from Paris to Iran when the Shah had left Iran and the Islamic Revolution had become successful in 1979, and Khomeini was coming back to Iran. On the plane, a reporter asked him if he has any feelings about going back to Iran, and
yeah.
he said none. He said nothing, and that's a famous quote of him, that he showed no appreciation or happiness about going back to Iran. And the reason why he said none is because he's against nationalism and celebrating one's land and soil, because he's about Islam, not he's considered nationalism to be an enemy of Islam. So,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So Sohail is saying he said he just said one word. He didn't even say a sentence. He said hichi, which means nothing. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to find the photo. So for those who don't know, it's like a holiday in the Islamic Republic, where they celebrate the day that he came back to Iran. And I can't find the photos, but one of the things that they've done to celebrate this is they have a plane on a runway, and they take a cardboard cutout of Khomeini, and they like take the cardboard cutout like down the stairs of the plane like as if he's coming back. I can't
Actually,
find the
there's a
photos,
funny
but they are so funny to me.
Actually, I might look this up. I might look at this. There's something so funny about this. Khomeini Moghawai. Let me see if I could find this. Khomeini Moghawai.
By the way, if
While you're
anyone
doing,
has not seen the video footage about what happened at Khomeini's funeral, it is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like hundreds of men like pulling to try to get a hold of the body. Like they have a helicopter that comes in to like take everything at the last second. They're like shooting ARs into the crowd to get them to back off. Like it is one of the probably the craziest funeral I've ever seen.
Wait,
Wait,
hold
wrong
on.
one.
Let's remove-
Yes. Yes.
So they do this almost every year, I think, like to celebrate the time that he came. So this is a historic moment when Khomeini came back to Iran and he got off the plane. And every year for the anniversary of it, they try to reenact it happening, and they go make a cardboard cutout of Khomeini, and they just walk him down the stairs. And they act like and they have soldiers and everybody saluting him as if this is happening again. And so it's it's kind of cringe. People made a. Let me see if I could find a funny music bit. Yeah, so I might get copyright stricken, but people made fun, like they made a musical about this, calling it the cardboard Khomeini. Anyways, it's so retarded.
Mazda is saying, I don't know about that, but I will check it up. I know much of these anti-Iranian news are actually made up. What I said about his funeral is not made up. You can literally go watch the video yourself.
Oh, what did you say about his funeral? I was looking for the
When they're
cardboard.
all like trying to grab the body, and then do you remember like the helicopter
Oh yeah,
comes in to like snatch it, and they're like shooting into the crowd to get people to back off?
there is a famous picture of uh, his body being taken out of
Like the
the
shroud.
box the yeah yeah and out of the box that he's in, and his body just floating over his dead body just floating over the crowd. This was the world's largest funeral. Like no funeral has ever been this big. I don't know if I could find the image right now. It was absolute. It's a very uh famous picture that got a lot of awards. It's kind of dark though. I think I found one of them. Yeah, do you guys want to see it? This is the big. I don't know if you guys want to see this. It's kind of like messed up, but yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's
little
like
graphic.
yeah, I can show this version. I could show it. I could show the version before he got completely taken out. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I will show you this one.
I found part of it too. It's not that crazy. I it's a little
Here.
crazy.
So this is the beginning of it, where eventually they completely tore all of the shroud away, and he was just his dead body was just floating. So this is Khomeini's funeral, and they lowered his body. I mean, the people got hold of his the box what is it called, the tomb, the thing that he's in, and they took him out, and then his people were worshiping him at that
They
time,
were like
right?
in a frenzy.
Uh,
I would describe it as a
they were,
frenzy.
yeah, it was a frenzy. It was crazy. If you actually go watch the videos of this event, this is the largest gathering of people in a funeral in history. I mean, I think if I'm correct about this, if I remember, this was the largest gathering of people in a place, like one of the 10. So I know the highest one was in India over a religious festival, but the funeral of Khomeini was one of the top 10 highest gatherings of people in a place in history. And if you go look at the views, the crowd, the number is unbelievable how many people showed up. This is back in the day where Khomeini was actually popular. And this is the videos of his body being taken out of the shroud, and his body just a dead body of Khomeini just floating over all of these people, and people like treating it like it's a body of a god or something. This is something that I never knew growing up in Iran. This is a part of history that the Iranian regime tries to hide. They're very embarrassed about this happening. And when this was happening, the helicopter was trying to go in, get the body back, and we never knew this as kids in Iran. Like I learned about this after I left Iran. So
Yeah, wait. When Queen Elizabeth died? There was someone who made a comparison video. Let me just pull this up. Wait. God, I hate the new StreamYard feature. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they did that. Why they did that? No, wait, stop the music! Stop the music! Stop the music! Stop the music! No. Wait. You muted. Yeah, yeah, because we might like. Oh yeah,
Wait.
that's.
Where where does the helicopter come in?
Shit! Look at that.
Look at they're trying to rip it back from the crowd.
Yeah. So there was actually fight. Like there are people were trying to save the body. Oh, look at everybody. You know, everybody is trying to get a last chance to kiss the body, touch the body. They think they're gonna get like.
Wait, when the helicopter comes in, this is where things get crazy. Look at they're like shooting back up. They got the water cannons out.
Oh, eventually they save the body.
Dude,
Oh, the coffin. I was saying, yeah. I was like, why couldn't I remember the word for coffin today? That's thank you, somebody.
this guy fainted.
Yeah, these are so many
Oh, the
people fainted.
CPR.
Some people were trampled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolute craziness. This is what sticks in my mind.
yeah. Like people like they shouldn't have taken the body into the crowd because they didn't realize that people were so gonna go crazy and they want to touch it and they want to kiss it. People thought like this that day when Khomeini died in Iran, for these people it was like God died. Like it was like that's how the people felt. Like they felt like their entire, because a lot of people at that point like didn't even imagine Khomeini dying. Like they were so attached to Khomeini that they didn't believe that he would actually die. Some of these people actually thought Khomeini was the Mahdi himself. Yeah, people are
Didn't
saying
some
yeah,
people think that he was gonna come back?
yeah. Well, I don't know. I just thought I know some people thought he's never gonna die.
Mm,
But yeah.
maybe I'm. Yeah, I think I'm confusing it with something else. Anyways, that was a little bit of a detour.
Yeah.
Asian American. That's a fucking biohazard.
Yeah. I'm really saying, what year was that? I think it was when I was 2 years old. Wait, what was that? How old was I when Khomeini died? Khomeini's
Oh, I'm about to expose his age.
1980. Oh no, I was older. Okay, 1980, 1989. So I was 6 years old.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was 6 years old with Khomeini dying. Okay.
Coming out of the closet as a millennial. No.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, can I
So
just
wait, that's almost.
quickly say something? Guys, this is really funny. So Armin has been having on the Persian side of Atheist Republic a little bit of a back and forth drama feud with another very large Persian YouTuber. And one of the other Persian YouTuber, there was the big falling out, and he came at Armin. He was like, "You have no respect. Like I was in prison when you were a kid 20 years ago." Blah blah blah. And Armin is like,
Wait, so you.
"Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm the same age as you."
No,
I
I'm
just
older
look
than him. Like he was
You're
like,
older than him. I
yeah,
just look 20 years younger than you, bro.
yeah, he was trying to diss me. He was like, "You shouldn't talk because I was doing activism when you were 2 years old. I was in jail when you were 2 years old." I'm like, "Dude, I'm older than you. What are you talking about?"
Like, uh, I just look too good.
Yeah,
What a compliment,
and I
though.
and yeah, and I was like, "Guys, this," and the Persian show, like, "Guys, this is why you should drink more water, get more sleep, exercise." Yeah, you're right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, that was a detour, but I think it was worthwhile for people that didn't know that. Um yeah.
Yeah, that history. We have three more super chats, by the way.
Oh, we do. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Um Okay, so oh no, we did that one. John gave
Yeah.
a super no, and we did this one.
Oh no, we
Okay.
did that. Oh, you. Yeah, there's one
Okay.
more.
So Gaijin gave a super chat saying, have they considered getting a Chinese backflipping robot carrying a petri dish with Khomeini's cloned brain cells? Well, I think that would actually be a much better way to memorialize his memory. Send that down the stairs of the plane with backflips.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna make a robot version of Khomeini one day to reenact his return to
Mm,
Iran one
mhm.
day. Yeah, yeah. You know, if it would, if I wouldn't get copyright stricken, I would like play the music for the anniversary of the victory of the Islamic Revolution of 1979, and I would like go over the lyrics for you. They're like, I know, like for example, when the Shah left and Khomeini came back, parts of the lyrics is like, the beast left Iran and the angel came back. You know, so it's like I wish I could like play it and review the songs for you guys when in the stream. It would be
I'm
interesting.
going to be
And
fully
also,
honest. There are some pro regime songs that are very catchy. There's one
yeah,
pro regime song that I unironically listen to because it's so
yeah,
catchy.
yeah. Khomeini, Imam,
Yeah, that's one of them.
Khomeini. That's the one. I knew that's gonna be the one of them.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. And then there's the
Uh,
Iran, 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 La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, Iran, 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 Iran. And then the rest of the lyrics come in, and but they're like they're like Iran, like the land of like blood and smoke, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god.
yes. Yeah, yeah. At first, yeah, you're right. The song sounds very cheery. It's like Iran, 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 the land of blood and bullets. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
says.
You know which one I'm
So,
talking about, right?
okay. Oh my god, what? Like you know, it's so interesting because we used to sing this as kids, and we didn't actually pay attention to the meaning. And now, as an adult, I'm like listening back to them, like, what the fuck is this song? This guy's the lyrics doesn't actually match the tone of the song. It's
Wait, so
like,
Hale knows which ones I'm talking about. Oh yeah, yeah, no, and oh yeah, no. Part of it goes like you know, and then it's like Allah, 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 da 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 da. But it has a vibe. It really has a vibe. I think it's from the Iran-Iraq War too.
oh my god, oh god,
It's so
you should
catchy
come
though,
and explain this on the Persia. You should
dude.
come on the
People rip their
Persia or a
hair out. They'll
Persian.
be so pissed at me.
No, they will love it. It would be
Really?
so funny. Yeah, Ragbar exactly. Some Iranians in the chat are saying like Ragbar Sal Sal. They're like, oh, the bullets flying in the air, like la 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 la. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Oh
why
my
are you
god.
this? Why are you so happy about describing a war zone? Why are you so cheerful? Like, oh my god. Oh god, this should be its own segment on the Persian channel. Okay, we should
Dude.
do this. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.